suit.
Welcome everybody to the review for between me and Aaron for Paper Play Action for Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2.
Space Marine DOS.
Yes,
sir.
For people who don't know, it is a sequel to good old Space Marine that came out in what again? 2013.
No. Space Marine 1 came out way before that, I think.
Let me take a look at that at the very least because I know it was a long time.
Space Marine came out. I got you. I'm looking it up. Don't worry. Came out 2011.
2011. Wow. Okay.
2011.
13 years.
Before that. It was 13 years before that sequel came out. So very look forward to sequel, obviously. And a lot of people played it. Like I think this might be the most popular Warhammer 40k game that's been released in a minute. Because I don't think Dark Tide got that close.
No, Dark Tide never got that close. But to be fair, the first Space Marine was also considered at the time the most popular Warhammer game there was.
The first Space Marine was like the first, I think 40k game I think I ever played. Also, we never introduced ourselves. Pele is my co-host. I am Aaron. We forgot to do the introductions, but we are going to be reviewing that. I don't think we said our names. Also, pardon me if I sound a little weird. I am super congested, and I'm just kind of dealing with it. But, honestly, I don't know if you want to go first. How many hours do you have in the game, first of all?
Let me check. Go ahead. I'm sure you have me beat.
Yeah. I have 122 hours right now, so I usually try to review a game after 100 hours, so I feel like I'm pretty safe in kind of reviewing what the game has to kind of give us. And I feel like we've played a pretty good amount.
Yes, I've played nowhere near as you, but 30 hours worth of content.
I mean, 30 hours is still a pretty good amount, I'm not gonna lie. I played a lot more PvP, I'm say, to be honest.
Yeah, but you and I have pretty much gone through virtually everything in the game that has to offer at the current moment here, both the campaign, operations, and
we beat the campaign together, right?
Yes, we did. We beat the campaign together. We did all the operations that are currently available together. We have none of the participants yet, but we're working on that front eventually.
If you had to give it like a number, real quick, we can kind of explain it. If you had to give it like a number out of 10,
Out of 10? Okay. I'll definitely give it a solid, I would say, 8 out of 10.
That's literally what I was going with as well. 8. I think an 8 is kind of where it's at. I don't know about, for me a 10 is incredibly difficult. Like a 10 out of 10 game is like fucking, not a lot of things to do well. This game, Space Marine is at it looks really good. Like if we're talking graphics and stuff like that, it looks beautiful. Honestly, the particle effects,
the blood effects,
genuinely the horde effects that they have in the game that are kind of like from the World War Z game, just done way better.
Oh yeah.
Like the horde effects of seeing like all the fucking pyramids coming at you is like really good. Like you can see them coming and you're like, that's a lot of them. Even on the lower difficulties, you're like, oh wow, that's a lot of enemies right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And not to mention the fact that you actually we have tested it out. You actually can shoot them from very far away and still take someone out. Will it affect the game? No, but nevertheless, it's still cool.
Feels like you're doing something, which also helps. The actual combat in the game, especially in the story, I feel like is really good. The actual combat, for operations, I would personally say that what brings it down from an 8.5 or 9 for me is one, PvP only has 3 maps currently, which they are going to add more from what I understand, but I don't know how fast they're going to add more. And I feel like they need to add maps as soon as possible. Because I've played a solid maybe 15 hours of the PvP, leveling up all the different characters, or the classes rather, and it gets to a point where you don't even notice you're on the same map because you've been on it, that your brain kind of meshes it all together. You know what I mean? Now, the maps are designed very well. I will say that. The maps have 3 lanes that you can go through. That way you have the ability to flank, and there's areas to set up and do ambushes and stuff, and there's a lot of things that are really good about the PvP. If you are a fan of Gears of War, I feel like the PvP brings you that kind of like competitive but not super sweaty gameplay.
Yeah, and it's not exactly like Gears of War. Just to clarify it, it's not a cover
it's not one for one. It's not a cover. Like Space Marines don't take cover. Okay, like that's just not a thing they do.
Is that no chest high walls or anything like that?
Yeah, you're fucking massive. That'd be crazy. You know how big? You would have to have like a giant wall for a Space Marine to take cover behind. And even then, realistically speaking, your armor is probably stronger than that wall.
Oh yeah.
Realistically, so it makes sense. In PvP, let's break it down, I guess, by like the three different parts.
We'll start off with the Eternal War mode, which is our PvP
Eternal
mode.
War is the PvP mode. You have the 6 classes that you can play as.
Yep. Tactical, Assault, Vanguard, Bulwark, Sniper, and Heavy. Yeah.
Heavy.
Each one has different variations of
weapons and variations and stuff like that. Yeah.
Starting off with the tactical, it's the most basic one. Has access to access to most of the weapons in the game, from any rifle, almost any pistol, and melee weapons.
You get the chainsword and the knife. I think is what you get.
Yes.
Chainsword goes for the weight. I'm not gonna lie. It's so good.
What tactical advantage it has, it allows you to pretty much throw down a scanner that allows you to ping your enemies on the screen, and if they're scanned, they're more likely to take damage. So
they have like you take like double damage or something. It's kind of wild. Realistically speaking, the tactical is like the closest you're gonna get to like a basic shooter of all of them. And like your ability is just very useful. Like I think of all the classes, this is the one that surprised me the most, because I was like, this is just a basic class, and then I started playing it, and I'm like, but wait a minute, you do get like all the guns pretty much. So like if I want to use a Melta, I can use it. If I want to use the like heavy bolt rifle, here we go.
Or the auto rifle. Yep, there you go.
You're very much supporting your team while also doing a lot of killing, because you do have like automatic weapons. Having 2 grenades as their tactical is like kind of another thing that they get.
Oh yeah.
And having those 2 grenades is kind of crazy, because you have 2 shock grenades. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
By the way, shock grenade, OP as fuck.
Yeah, it's the meta, so like everybody should use the shock grenade. The flashbang as well as damage over time.
It's a damage over time, stun grenade, also flashbang. So it's just like, because whenever you get hit by it, you can't physically turn your character around. You're like stuck facing forward, so you have to like figure out, like, remember where you are to like roll out of the way. It can be really rough if you get caught off guard. Going on to the Vanguard.
Assault
is assault. Assault in PvP is actually very good. You kind of you're squishy, but you rely on flanking. So like you get the assault gets a jump pack.
Is a melee
and like
it's a melee focused class where
all you get is a pistol.
Pretty much allows you to slam down and pretty much flank people and attack from above. It's really fun, and it can be really useful. You just gotta be quick about it.
I think that's the only one that gets the Warhammer.
Yes,
right?
It is the only one with the Warhammer. You have Power Fist, Chainsword, and the Warhammer, the Thunderhammer.
Warhammer is, I believe, the current meta pick, because it's just the AOE is insane.
So it's great for crowd damaging.
It's good for crowd damage. The thing is, like, a lot of people, like when I was playing it first, it's kind of rough, because if you get like caught off guard, like if you land on somebody and they have more than like 1 or 2 friends, realistically you're not gonna do anything. You're gonna probably die. So it relies you on a lot of you rely on a lot of like sneaking up on people, wait for your team to get into an engagement with them, wait for them to be focused on your team, and then you just land behind them, do a shitload of damage, and then keep swinging.
Or pick off stragglers if you can, because because most players don't bother to look up. So
a lot of people don't look up. It's surprising how many people do not look up.
Oh yeah.
So you can easily just sneak up on people. I've gotten to the point now where I know what the jump pad sounds like when it goes off, and I just freak out and start looking at the sky. Where are they? But it is very fun. It is so frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. Like it's good that it's kind of frustrating, because it can be good. But like if you have like a really good assault player, 2 really good assault players, and a team that knows how to work around that, you'll just be in the middle of a gunfight and suddenly half your team dies, and you're like, why? And then you turn around and you see the guy with the hammer just swinging, and you're like, okay.
Why? Yep.
That was unfortunate. Because once you're up in the air and you crash down on people, it's like half your damage, half your health is gone pretty much on that impact. And the hammer is like one more swing and you're fucking dead, you know. So
you don't stand much of a chance with it.
It can be
Especially
pretty
if you're
rough.
especially your classes, because some classes are also have different armor classes, so some can tank more than others. Obviously, if you have one of the lower ones, you're gonna get killed pretty quickly.
I believe the bulwark and the heavy are the two like actually most armored up ones. If
Yep,
I'm not
the smaller
mistaken.
ones is the sniper and the
Vanguard.
yeah, the
The
Vanguard.
Vanguard, I'm pretty sure, and the assault. The assault only gets two.
Yeah. All right, and moving on to the next class anyway. Speaking
Speaking
of
of
the
the
Vanguard,
Vanguard,
yes. So, like the
yes,
assault
sir.
class, the Vanguard is pretty similar to it, but has more focus on speed. With a focus, it only has the combat, has the combat knife, which is a quick, the weakest but the fastest melee weapon in the game. Pistol and three different types of rifles. Its particular ability allows you to pretty much grapple hook onto any target and just pretty much launch and do a massive damage dealing kick right to the face of your enemy.
It's an interesting move because a lot of people just tend to dive immediately and then die. But like if you have if you just have the Melta, for example, the Melta with the Vanguard is kind of crazy because you can like sneak up behind somebody and just boom, just melt them with it. So it can have its benefits. But like the grappling hook is useful as hell for specifically the bulwarks and the heavies, I would say. It's a very hard counter because if you're a bulwark and you get grappling hooked, you're gonna die if he has friends shooting at you. Like the strat for the Vanguard is stay with your friends the moment there's a heavy that pulls up or a bulwark, because the bulwark can just block every shot in the game right now. You like grappling hook them, which stuns them, and then while you're flying at them, your friends are just lighting them up with every gun possible, and then they die. So like it is like a certified kill on at least one person. You may die, but it's a certified kill on one person, which can like, even though you die, if their heavy dies and your heavy's still alive, that can like even the odds for your team, because them not having a heavy just means they can't like lay down that kind of fire. So you have to play a little smart with it. Because you have submachine guns and then a melta rifle, so you're a lot more close range dedicated. But you also can traverse the map fast as fuck because the grappling hook can grab onto walls and stuff and just pull you around. It adds for a lot of really good flanking maneuvers. So definitely, if you're like a flanker, I think Assault and Vanguard are your play. Like those are the two that you want to play as for the most part.
And throw a tactical aspect scan in there, and then like you just pretty much decimate anybody who you target in a single extent.
Yeah.
Yep. Moving on to the next one.
To the
Bulwark.
I think the Bulwark, yeah. Bulwark is a very hit or miss class with some people. I feel like it's one of the ones where it is incredibly strong, but it can also be incredibly what I noticed when I was first playing the game is I felt like I wasn't doing anything, but I was actually doing a lot of work. Like I didn't really realize until at the end of the game when I looked at my stats what I was doing. Because you think you see the guy with the shield and sword and go, oh, this is the guy you want to run in there with and start swinging. Yes, but also really no, because if you start doing that, you'll get surrounded and you'll die in 5 seconds, because they don't. As a bulwark, you get a sword, you get either the choice of the power sword, the chain sword, or the fist, and you get a pistol. And that's it. You get the bolt pistol or the plasma pistol. So your only range choice is a pistol. Yep.
But that drawback, the main feature of the Bulwark is the shield and the flag.
Yeah.
The
flag and the shield, but realistically, it's the shield for the most part. The flag will, it's your cooldown ability that it'll come back. But like realistically, the shield is crazy for the Bulwark right now. If you just lock up and like block, you can like take every bullet in the game. Sniper, the heavy, like literally all it takes. The only thing I think that is a straight counter to it is probably the multi-melta or the meltas.
Yeah.
Because I know the multi-melta just stuns a bulwark. It counts as like a heavy hit, so they get stunned and then you can hit them again. But like it is very frustrating as a heavy to have like the heavy bolter and you're just laying down fire and then a bulwark comes the corner and you're like, well, bullets. I'm not even gonna shoot because like I can't do shit. And then being a heavy with a bulwark is kind of rough as well, because like if they're walking you down, there isn't really anything you can do. The heavy doesn't have a melee, so you just, or it does have melee, but you don't have a melee weapon. You're just hitting them with your like stomping on them basically. And as a bulwark, that's just easy pickings. I can walk up to you, either walk enough close to you that I can throw my stun grenade and stun you, and then run up and start meleeing you to death, or I can just wait for you to run out of ammo or overheat or whatever, and have to turn away and run away from me, and I can just light you up with my pistol. You know, and I found that I felt like I wasn't doing anything primarily because I was using my pistol so much that I don't feel like I'm a melee class. I feel like I'm just a pistol class for some reason. You know what I mean? Not exactly horrible, but I do think the Bulwark is one of the classes that needs to get balanced a tiny bit. I think the shield should have a limit to what it can block, personally, because otherwise it's just kind of crazy what you can do with it. Just kind of stand there and not give a fuck, you know?
Yeah.
It really takes a coordinated effort to push a Bulwark, because if it's just one person, realistically the Bulwark is probably going to win that. But if it's two people, at least you can stun them, and then the other person can just be lighting them up from the back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It is one of those kind of one of those things that I hope they balance out a little bit in the PvP. But I enjoy the class a lot. The banner that you put down regenerates your armor really fast, so you can just, even if you're getting shot at, you'll just keep healing your armor back, which doesn't let you take damage, which is amazing. It's honestly super useful for you and your teammates. So that's a Bulwark.
Yep.
After that, we have
the Sniper. As the name suggests, it is a sniper class.
But except for when it's not, because you have access to an SMG as well. So you can just be like a scout kind of character. The sniper's ability is you go invisible. You have an invisibility cloak, which is fucking insane. I'm not gonna lie, because it's practically invisible. Like, it's so
you can't
hard to
see
see.
Yeah, you can't.
It is so, you gotta really be paying attention, and you'll see like that shimmer. But I'm not gonna lie, the backpacks that the Space Marines wear have like these little vents that shoot out like hot air.
Yeah.
And it'll look like that, and so many times I'm like, oh, it's a sniper, and I'm like, oh no, it was just my friend's fucking like the exhaust from my friend's backpack, and I'm like, oh my god, Jesus, I'm fucking on edge. But the sniper is really good if you're like, a lot of people that probably play snipers in Call of Duty might not like it because it isn't a one-shot kill.
Yeah, there's no quick aim.
I mean, there's a quick aim. Like, you can click it and something. What do you mean?
Oh, no. Like, there's no.
Oh, you mean like okay.
Aim
Yeah, no, there isn't that. But you're meant to stay behind the enemy line, and like, if for the assault, for example, an assault starts flying in the air and they hold shift to float, you can pop off 2 shots on them. That means that by the time they crash down, they're going to have like 1 health, and they're just going to die. They might kill one of your teammates, but like, you've pretty much assured that they die. You're essentially weakening people. You probably do get killed. I've gotten plenty of kills with a sniper, but your job is more often than not to like, oh, my friend is fighting this guy, I'm gonna pop him once, because that's gonna drop him down to like 3/4 of their health, while my teammate is at full health level. They already have the advantage, you know what I mean? So you're there to weaken people up real good, so that your team can like kind of wipe them out. That being said, you can definitely be more offensive with the SMG. Like,
oh yeah.
You put the crack grenade on that, or like you just walk up behind people, just put that shit on there, and then start shooting. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, the crack grenade is the sticky grenade format of the game, where it just launches onto a character and just pretty much.
I feel like the Melta, the explosive, the Melta bomb is gonna be nuts. Like what's on a rocket to use with the sniper, because I feel like you just walk up invisible behind people, drop that shit, and run away, and think this is what it's about.
It sounds like a really great C4 drop off. Yeah.
It is actually pretty fun to play this stuff. You are very squishy. I'm not gonna lie. You only get the knife.
You gotta stay stealthy. You gotta stay hidden. You are not good in
like a full-on fight. I think almost any class would beat you unless you get really lucky and hit them with that first shot. If you hit them with that sniper shot, like a headshot or something, you can probably out-pistol them, or like outgun them with the pistol if they're already low health. But realistically speaking, if you're in the back and you get flanked by somebody, it's rough, because like you don't really have a melee weapon that can do a lot of damage. You just have the knife, so it's fast, but you're not wiping people up. Anything like that. Anyways, anything else you want to say?
And moving on to the final class, we have the Heavy.
The Heavy. That's probably my favorite class.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Heavy is my personal favorite class. A Bulwark is close there. I think Bulwark might be my favorite for fighting like the Tyranids in the other game mode. Yep. But I think Heavy overall for PvP is my favorite. It's definitely my most played class, for sure. And
the Heavy has the terms of Heavy Gunner. Essentially, you give up a melee weapon, essentially to give up a really heavy machine gun, plasma incinerator, which is essentially a grenade launcher, and the multi-melta, which is a multi-heavy shotgun, essentially. And
It's essentially a big shotgun.
Yeah, they do a lot of damage. They pump out a lot of rounds down range for it, and they also have a predictable shield they can carry around themselves as well as a couple of their teammates, so they can be frontboards as a tank at times.
Yeah. You are the tank, essentially. You're the. I mean, I guess the bulwark is more like the tank, but you're the one that should be considered a tank, I guess, in terms of without the shield.
Yeah.
I will say the heavy is probably the most fun to play if you enjoy just shooting shit, because with the heavy bolter, you're just lighting stuff up. In general, I have found that I don't think it's super OP, but if you're a very aggressive heavy, you can really turn the tables on a game if you know what you're doing. But it is a very just you're there for kills to an extent, but realistically you're there to just lay down fire. You're there to just hit as many people as possible, so your team can do damage there too. The shield is, like Pele said, you have the ballistic shield. It's super useful. It has a short, it lasts pretty long if you just turn it on, but it'll. If you're in a fight with somebody runs up on you and you're the heavy, it can be really kind of scary because they can shoot you really fast because your gun takes a little bit to arm up. So if you get flanked and they're right in front of you shooting you, you just pop that shield open, and that can win you a fight even if they're already attacking you, just because they have to reach the gap then and start meleeing you, and you can just lay into them while that's happening. Honestly, overall, I don't think there's any class necessarily in PvP that needs too much of a change other than the bulwark with the shield. I think that's the only real one that might need to have a little bit of a change. So
the change is only for the PvE. The similar changes cannot be applied for the PvE side of things, which we'll get into right now.
Yeah, we'll get into the PvE. With the PvE, by the way, there's 3 different game modes in the game. Like we said, there's the story mode, there's Eternal War, which is multiplayer, and then there's Operations, which are a PvE mode, a co-op mode with you and 2 of your friends, and all the operations except for the very last one, number 6, take place in between the story. So there's a bunch of missions where you're in the similar places that are in the story, but you're there either before or after Titus, Gadriel, and Chiron are there. So it's kind of cool to play them because you're there's a bunch of them where you're doing missions that occur in the story, and you're oh, okay, so this is how that happened. You know what I mean? There's a lot of really cool overlap between those things. They did a very good job with making it feel relevant. You're not just doing some random shit.
Yeah, it feels really cool. How this happened? Especially when we did the one mission, it's wait, that just comes through. When did that happen? You actually get to play it and send it through. Oh my god, that's cool.
Yeah. The classes are for the most part the same,
except for the assault.
Except for the assault. Now, the assault, I've seen people say that as you level it up, it gets better, which I'm sure it does. But if I have to level up a class to the, I think the 3rd tier, which is the purple tier, for it to be good, the class isn't good. Because the issue that Assault has for everyone is that you have a jump height. You jump into the air and you're in the air floating, and then you crash down. In story and PvP, they work almost identical. In the story, it just recharges super fast, but they're pretty much identical. You jump a good 10, 15 feet in the air, and then you crash down. Whereas for some reason, I don't know why, neither does Pele, I'm pretty sure, neither does anyone we've played the game with. We don't know who decided this. The assault class, you barely jump into the air. You're a foot off the ground, and then you come crashing down. And it doesn't do nearly as much damage, it doesn't look nearly as cool, and you can't really the whole point of Assault is, since you're squishy, you're in and out. And you can't do that in PvE with the Assault right now because it's just kind of useless. It is cool because you get the hammer and everything, but your main ability is nowhere near as useful as it is in
it has been nerfed. Yeah.
And I don't know why. I really, if it is because you have to level up the class, that's honestly stupid to me, because I have it the base level and then have it get better. I don't think you should nerf it to the point where it's
nerfing the jump height. It seems that seems a weird nerf of all things.
It kind of fucks you as well, because the fact that you don't have a lot of health as an assault.
Not
Since
to
your
mention,
jump
like,
height
not
isn't
much
tall.
control, because you can't, if you're trying to
Yeah.
go for like a distant group and you want to surprise them, but you can't
Yeah.
jump that high and you can't reach them. Like, what the hell?
You don't you your height and reach is nerfed significantly in the PvE, and it really kind of messes with you, especially in the harder difficulties, because like the whole point is, oh, there's a huge swarm, let me jump up and like dive into them and kill a bunch in one go. You can't really do that, and in some situations, if you're surrounded, it doesn't let you escape. Like one of the things about the jump pack in PvP and also in the story is like if you get surrounded by a big horde and you're getting annihilated and like messed up, you can just jump out of the way and like get yourself somewhere safer real quick. Because your jump height is nerfed in PvE, you just kind of sit there while they're still hitting you, and you end up like taking a lot of damage, and I think that's I don't know how much else like the other classes change that much per se, but I think that's the biggest one in
Ammo count was a big thing that Javi mentioned. Yeah.
I think I do think that is one of those things that video games do that I pisses me off sometimes, is the difficulty. They do send more creatures, like more monsters at you and more enemies, but they also limit how much ammo you have, and I don't know why they do that. I feel like limiting the ammo shouldn't be the way you make something harder, especially for a game where a bunch of the classes rely on ammo. Like being a sniper in PvE can be really rough because you get like 20 rounds max, I think, something like that. 21 rounds total every time you like re-up. And there's like hundreds of enemies on your fucking screen. So your goal is to focus on the bigger ones, but the bigger ones take like 2 to 3 shots to kill. So if you have 20 rounds, you can only kill like 11 people, like max, if you get really lucky and you like one tap one of them, you know what I mean? Like you can do more and stuff, but it is kind of annoying that the difficulty is like it does spawn more enemies, but it's not like they get significantly harder all the time. They just spawn more, but they spawn less ammo. I feel like if you're gonna spawn me more enemies to make it harder, sure, okay, just leave me my ammo. I want to shoot stuff. Like the melee is good here, but I would like to be able to shoot things as a heavy without having to worry about the fact that I'm not gonna have ammo for the rest of the mission. So it is one of those things where I know for a fact as you level up the guns, you get to carry more ammo. I think there's abilities that you like replenish ammo and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that maybe the upgrades will help, but it is one of like my pet peeves, as well as like Javi mentioned it and he pointed it out, that when the difficulty of something is just we're gonna give you fewer resources, it could be a little. I feel like it's a little bit cheap. What's one of those things that it like kind of drops it down for me a little bit is that the enemies I feel like aren't like significantly harder to kill. As long as you have the same level weapon. I will say that. Like Pele loves a challenge, and he's like, I'm down to play one of the harder difficulties, and we were down to try it one time. Problem is, if you have like a basic weapon and it's not leveled up, because there's like 4 different tiers of guns as you level them up, your gun just doesn't do any damage. Like straight up, I had a one Hormigaunt straight. Like, no, what was it the ones with the 2 swords? I forget their names. Straight up ran at me while it was the heavy, and I emptied my entire, like almost 150 rounds into him, and he just didn't die. And I was like, what in the fuck is going on? And then I was like, oh, we're playing on a hard difficulty, and our guns just do not do damage to them, apparently. Like it just does significantly amount of like less damage than you're meant to. And it can be a little annoying, because it's like, well, if I have to use like the way that you level up the guns, Pele, I don't know how much like you did the missions. Like you get the little green upgrades, and then you get the purple upgrades, and you get the all that. It's annoying because to level up your guns, you need those like little upgrade tokens, and to get a green upgrade token, you have to play on average difficulty. Okay, that might sound okay. Problem is, you start off with a gray weapon, not a green one, which is the one that you need. And to get the green, you need to play average. But if you play average, you're not going to have an average weapon. You're going to have a minimal difficulty weapon, which means you're going to play average like the first 3 or 4 times and not like do any damage. You're going to be fighting for your life. And then the same thing happens when you go from green to purple. To get the purple, you need to do the more difficult ones, but you can't unlock one of those weapons until you do that. So you have to use a weaker weapon to do that. And it just kind of is counterintuitive. I feel like you should get the upgrade tokens before you get to that difficulty, so that by the time you use that difficulty, you have weapons that you're meant to be using now. So I don't know. I feel like it's a little counterintuitive. Okay.
Yep, sorry. I was distracted for a second. Yep.
Holy shit. Give me just a split second. It's like pouring rain. I gotta close out back real quick.
Oh, you're good.
Just give me 1 second.
Post hurricane season, everybody. Yep. We'll ask Aaron how he is in a second with the storm, with passed over him here in North Carolina. My part of the state, I am perfectly fine. Just a bunch of rain. My heart goes out for everybody for that crowd list, though.
Damn.
Yeah.
It was like kind of cloudy, and then it just starts pouring rain. All right.
Yeah, so this here. I was just telling the audience that how everything was from the hurricane season here. Just telling them how I was doing. Everything was fine. Western North Carolina is a bit messed up. My heart goes out.
Western North Carolina is pretty fucked. I really, honestly,
yeah.
And I think I'll ask a lot. I think there's a couple of donation links that you can put if you can. But if you're a religious person, pray for them to whatever God is you believe in. But there's a lot of destruction, especially in rural Appalachia. It's really rough.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Aaron. Did the storm affect you much at all when it passed over?
Like down here in Costa Rica? Mm-hmm. Not really. We have had a tropical storm here for a couple days, so it's just been raining a lot. Okay. But like, it's really hard for a hurricane to hit down here because, like, the way that the pathing works, they have to go through the Caribbean islands, and usually the Caribbean islands break up the hurricane into a tropical storm before it gets to Central America. And the odds of like a hurricane hitting us from the Pacific is like very low, because usually those go off to Japan and those areas, or they go off to like South America. So, luckily, I don't really have to worry about that. That being said, it has been raining a lot here. There are a couple places that probably have had there's a lot of landslides and stuff right here. So I'm sure, but nowhere near the level of like Asheville, North Carolina, or like even Boone.
Entire highway
Bro,
underwater.
Did you see Boone? Man, that shocked me. For those of you who don't know, North Carolina, Boone is the part that's over near Appalachian State, which is pretty much touching Tennessee. It's on like the inner part. It's nowhere close to the ocean. It's nowhere close to any water.
2,000 feet.
It's up in the mountains. It is a basin up in the mountains. So like you go up, and then there's a flat area, and that's Boone. You know, it's a pretty big city. And it got flooded. Like, we're talking like street lights were getting flooded over and stuff, which to me, I'm like, people were like, well, why didn't they prepare? Like, I don't think you can prepare in places like that because they're not used to it. Like,
they weren't used to it.
The
hurricane actually was just caused was the breaking point. Like, a lot of the dams kind of just gave way with the hurricane. And
like, they don't get that much rain up there. Like, obviously, up in
and they're not going to prepare for a hurricane level threat in a place that barely gets
yeah. It's also because like hurricanes tend to stay to the coast, right? But it went in and then like stayed like on land, and then when it got over that area of North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, it just stayed there for like 2 days. Okay, I don't know if you saw that. Like 2 days straight.
I saw. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that is just unlucky as shit. You know what I mean? A lot of these places, for those of you who don't know, the Appalachian area is one of the poorest areas in the United States. It's definitely the poorest area, I think, in North Carolina. There's a lot of rural people who have been living in shacks their great-grandparents built or great-great-grandparents built a long-ass time ago. Some of these places still have dirt floors. I'm by no means trying to insult them. I'm just letting you know, like, these people live in very humble areas. And there's nothing you can do with, like, that kind of stuff to prepare for a hurricane of this level. So just, keep your hearts out and, hopes up for these people. It's a lot of money. I feel bad for a lot of the poor, like, people without, like, because Boone is a city that has a big university right there. Realistically, they'll be able to fix everything up because they get a lot of tax funding, all that, and they get a lot of government funding. I feel for a lot of the people outside of Boone and the more rural areas, because there's some people that probably lost their houses, and getting them back it might be an impossibility for those people, So it's rough. I really hope everybody's okay. If anyone out there is affected by it, prayers out to you, really. I really do hope everyone is okay there. I'm glad none of my friends personally were affected, thankfully, but my friend Anna, one of her coworkers, her sister passed away because a tree just got pushed over and fell into their house where they were sleeping, and that shit was really sad. So like it's It was rough. It's terrible what happened. These are two areas that by no means are they used to having this level of rain at all. There's not a lot you can do to prepare, especially in the U.S. Houses are made out of plywood in a dream in some places, so Anyways, let's get back to Space
into
Marine.
Warhammer. Yep. So so we were discussing on the PvE modes or the operation. So we're discussing about the balancing issues we were talking about regarding that there, as well as but how do you feel about like how the operations
overall? I'm gonna be real. One of my bigger problems with the operations is some of the classes aren't meant to fight the. I don't want to is this a spoiler? Are we gonna do spoilers here? I'm assuming it's a review, so we're gonna probably do spoiler stuff, right?
Well, minor spoilers. We're not gonna talk about the story or anything.
We're not gonna break down the story. But spoiler alert, I guess, in this moment. It's not insanely huge, I guess, but you will be fighting some Chaos Marines at some point in the game. You're gonna be dealing with Chaos, just like the first game. Titus dealt with the Orcs, and he dealt with the Khorne, all the Khorne people. This game as well, you deal with the Tyranids and you deal with the Chaos. I'm not going to spoil who, but you have to fight them at one point. In operations, the first two missions, the first 2.5 missions, because the third mission, like half of it is Tyranids, and then it changes
to Chaos,
to Chaos. I think, like, for example, playing Bulwark against Chaos, super rough. It's really rough. There's a couple of classes that I just feel weren't meant to play against Chaos. They just never really balanced them like that. Because, like, the switch from Tyranids to the Chaos Marines is so annoying. There's these enemies that the Chaos people have that are like these little shielded fucks, and those shields are so busted. I know they recently nerfed them and made them a little more easier to kill so you don't feel as useless, but I, as a Bulwark with a Power Fist, would just swing and swing and swing at these dudes' shields, and they just wouldn't care. And I'm like, bro, I am a fucking Space Marine swinging with the strength of a Mack truck. There's no way you are just putting up a shield and not taking any damage. You should at least fly back, like something.
Or get the shield knocked out of the first
or
hit.
Or have the shield break after a few hits. I felt like something like that was kind of what's going to happen, but you have to heavy attack them for that to happen. I feel like the Bulwark and the Assault, obviously, the melee classes, it's really, really rough against the Chaos people, because I just feel like the game wasn't balanced for you to play against them like that. And it's annoying, because only the first, second, and sixth mission are full only Tyranids. And I'm like, fuck, I wanted more Tyranids. Like, Chaos is cool, don't get me wrong, but like...
The Tyranids feel like more balanced.
I want to fight the Nids, because it's, personally, I find it way more fun to fight the Tyranids than the Chaos people.
No, agreed, absolutely. I think they have enough damage variety as well as types that feels well enough and a server purpose of fighting anything you do. For the Chaos Marines, because of how they operate in this one, especially how they just move around, it becomes aggravating.
The big ones, there's these big ones that spawn. There's regular Chaos Marines, and then there's some bigger ones, okay?
Yeah.
And those have this ability to shoot out rockets. If you're a Bulwark, that shit's pain.
Yeah, you have
to run at them. You're like, I have to roll to them as fast as possible, because there's not really anything I can do from a distance.
No, because you can't block it. You
can't block it because they come from behind you and shit. So you can block the ones that hit you in the front, but then others that hit you from all angles. So it can be kind of rough. I think that's my biggest issue with PvE, is that there aren't that many Tyranid missions. I personally, whenever I do operations, do the first, second, and sixth mission. Those are the only ones I really ever do, because I just want to fight Nids, and I do them on the hard difficulties, because fighting the Chaos people on the harder difficulties is genuinely annoying. Like, it's not even fun sometimes. It's just genuinely annoying.
Especially how some of the missions are structured down the line.
Yeah.
I know we got, once we get to the final endings, that's where, and the bosses of the levels and everything like that, those are become a cakewalk, but, just getting past to it from that point, especially with,
very cool missions. I will say, by no means am I saying the Chaos missions are bad. They're not bad. They're actually pretty fun.
It's just the Chaos Marines are just annoying to fight at a lot of times, especially
the one where you have to take care of that big dragon thing, right?
Yes. Dealing with the dragon was not the issue. Getting there,
especially on the harder difficulties, is like, oh my god, it can be a bit of a slog, honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
I think that's my biggest complaint with the PvE, is just the lack of Tyranids, and also the balancing of certain classes against the Chaos forces. So that'd probably be my biggest complaint. Mm-hmm. Now, do you have any complaints about the PvE per se, or anything like that you noticed?
No, same as you. I prefer more of the Tyranid aspect for it. I do like.
Now they will be adding more. That is also
It
something
will
we
be
should
able to, and I'm excited to see that. Leveling up, well, it's still fun, and like, of course, in the harder difficulties, you get more experience for it. It's a lot faster. To get
Getting
there.
those tokens is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, those tokens are a bit of a pain in the ass, especially it's like since I was one of the people who actually did all the trials in one go, and that was a little bit of a slog, but it wasn't too bad. And
I liked doing the trials. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
I
but you
enjoyed
can't
doing those trials.
you can't do them again to get more stuff. So like you just
Yeah, you can only do them once. You
Yeah,
can't do them
so,
once.
like-
By the way, if you get this game and you're doing the PvE, every class has 3 different trials. Do them.
They're
Like,
essentially
just do
tutorials
them.
of the game, so I
They're
recommend you do them.
tutorials for each as an individual class, but also they're like little challenges. Like, kill all these people in 40 seconds. And I'm not gonna lie, it was like,
That's harder than it sounds. It's
cool.
much harder
Yeah,
than it sounds,
very fun. You get to the point where you feel like I've memorized all of my characters, all of my movements, because you just know where everything spawns. It's very fun.
Like-
I do wish there were more. Like, it would be kind of cool if they added more.
More advanced stuff like that would be neat. But
yeah.
Operation same position that you have. More.
I think the biggest highlight of operations is just that the assault class needs to get buffed for
Yes.
operations. I don't know who at
Focus Interactive. No,
Focus
Saber
Entertainment.
Interactive.
No, Saber. It's Saber Interactive. Yeah. Well, Focus Entertainment is the publisher. Saber
Yeah, but Saber's developer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whoever thought in Saber that for some reason in PvP the assault class needed to be that bad, but please change it as soon as possible.
It's just a small fix. Just make sure the jump is higher and rate is first. That's all we really
Just
do.
have it
Same
be the
damage,
same as
that's fine.
PvP. Just have it be the same as PvP. I don't get why it's better in PvP than PvE. It
Yeah,
should
the
theoretically
damage
be
output I
better
don't
in
care.
PvE.
As long as you still have the same control amount, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, I don't think the damage output's different because you still have the hammer
Yeah.
and the fist and all that stuff. I just think it's the jump that really is like this makes the class feel nowhere near as fun to play.
No,
Yeah.
it's just so weird for it. But
Hobby tried to brute force it. I don't know if you were there. Like
no, I know. I was there. I was there for a few missions.
He
Yeah.
was trying to brute force it, and yeah, you can have fun and play it and use it, but man, do you have to have friends that are helping you out?
Playing
'Cause
that solo, I think, would be a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like playing Assault solo would just be pain. That's actual pain. But yeah, that would be the operations mode. They are going to be adding more operations to like the game. Like they're not adding any more story mode, from what I understand, which makes sense by the end of the game. Once you if you play it and beat it, it makes sense why there wouldn't be any more. But
Yes.
from what I understand, anything they add is probably going to be Tyranids in the future. Which
Possibly
I hope
with
to God they
Tyranids,
just keep
yeah.
adding Tyranid stuff.
It
Because
can't be the chaos.
It can't be the chaos people you deal with, at least, because by the end of the game, there's a whole resolution to that. So you know,
Not to mention the fact, like, okay, so here's one big criteria we have to tell about Warhammer stuff. Games Workshop, the owners who make the property of Warhammer, are extremely anal about their story narratives. So you can't do whatever you want with the story. You have to get it approved by them before you can do so.
I was gonna bring it up when we talked about the story mode a little bit more. Which, by the way, when we get to the story mode, I will say we'll give you like a spoiler, like warning, and we'll kind of see when we can stop, like put that up on the screen.
Yeah.
Because we will have to go into a little bit of spoiler territory. Oh, sorry.
You're good. So I just want to mention that with Warhammer because it's not even joking. Goes to the extent that they had to stop production for one project because one motherfucker's Space Marine's ankle was not the right shape and size.
They're very hardcore.
Yeah,
about
extremely about that. So they're.
I wish they were more
extremely
hardcore
anal
about upgrading the models on their fucking actual fucking marine on their minis. But you know, hey, that's just me. If you're obviously people that play this game, there's going to be two kinds. There's going to be people that know about Warhammer and people that don't. The beauty of this game, personally, what I like is that you don't have to know. You don't have to know shit about Warhammer. If you're someone who's going, I don't know anything about Warhammer 40k. I've heard about it. I don't know. I'm afraid of playing. Don't worry about it. This is
the only I would say like homework you need to do is play the first game. That's about it.
Or just watch one of your favorite YouTubers play it, because a ton of YouTubers that have played the game, and realistically speaking, it's a pretty fun movie to watch. Really,
honestly,
you know? So, but that being said, the first game, very good. It's a really good game. So if you ever want to play it, it's on Steam. You can probably get it on GOG. Probably
it seems like it, since how old it is, it's I think like $20.
I believe so. Yeah. Very worth it though. It's aged very well, in my opinion. It still looks a little older. It looks like an Xbox 360 game, but it plays very well.
Yep.
And you get to kill orcs.
It is $40.
It's $40. That doesn't surprise me, honestly.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me too much either. But
see if you can find a CD key. But now we're gonna move on to the story. Bit of a spoiler alert for anyone that cares about playing the game. We're gonna try our best to not spoil any major stuff, but there will be some things we're gonna talk about here.
Yes.
I would give the story personally like a solid 8.5 out of 10, in my opinion.
I agree.
Only thing that pisses me off, again, we're gonna go into some spoilers. Titus, very, very importantly, is in the very beginning, he is in the Death Watch. For those
Again,
who
the
don't know
game
about
takes
the
place
lore,
literally right after Twitch 1. Well, not right after.
not literally, 200 years after, my brother.
Yeah. 200 years. Which, I know that sounds
after-
like a long time in terms, but in Warhammer, that's
a blink of an eye,
Right,
unfortunately.
yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
how fucked that universe is. But, like, Titus is back. I love Titus in Space Marine 1. I will be honest, I am sad that you have to play as the Ultramarines, as I will always be sad whenever I have to play Ultramarines, because I do not like
They're the
Ultramarines.
main protagonist faction, and we have to.
But at least the game lets you customize shit. That being said, at the very beginning of the game, you play as Death Watch, because Titus is part of the Death Watch, and I just started thinking, man, Death Watch in 40k lore, for those you don't know, are the Xenos-specific, like, group. Like, all they do is go out and hunt Xenos, like aliens. That is their job. To
Tyranids,
kill and purge
orcs, you name
aliens.
it.
Orcs, Tau, Tyranids, fucking Eldar, whatever you can think of.
Necron.
If it's an alien and it isn't human, these dudes are trained to kill.
Yep.
And I started thinking to myself, like, damn, bro, if this game was just Death Watch, it would have been so much better. Like, if we didn't transition to the Ultramarines, because realistically speaking, the only reason Ultramarines are here is because Titus is here. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no reason for the Ultramarines to be there. They're on the other side of the galaxy from where they're supposed to be. But, you know, you have to play as Ultramarines. I will say at least they gave us cool-ass Ultramarine characters. They gave us Chiron and Gadriel, which are the two side characters. I fucking love both of them. I'm not even going to get into the whole fucking... So many people, like, on the internet that were mad that there was a black fucking Space Marine for some fucking reason. And I'm like, these guys don't know shit about Warhammer lore, bro. It's all I need to know.
They don't know jack diddly squat.
Anybody who's worried, like, I fucking... I don't know, man. Some of the reviews I've seen for this game are very, very interesting. They have... Honestly... In my opinion, 40k, and like this game too, has really good representation. It has genuinely pretty good representation as far as some games go. Even for 40k. 40k being a game for
the only I would say
is UK based. So
the only criteria I was going to say about Warhammer stuff, because like everybody is Cockney or British because it is a
everybody's
British
in some way, and or like you do have
possibly European. We did get that one French voice. We did get that one French guy.
You have the Katie, for example. Like the Cadian commander is a kind of an Indian-looking woman. I looked at her and thought she was maybe a little bit more like Middle Eastern, but a lot of people are saying she looks very Indian, so I'll go with that. And honestly, like again, anyone that complains about that is laughable, but there's a really good representation of she's this badass fucking commander who, like, being the Cadians, they know how to hold shit, you know, like, that's their whole thing.
Regular humans are just fighting like crazy.
Yeah. I think the guard representation is awesome. Although you are a Space Marine and you are way stronger than them in every single way, it is very nice to see them holding their own and fighting. Like, there's a lot of situations where you're fighting alongside the guardsmen, and every time everybody's like, save them! Keep them alive! Like, immediately. It's a very fun game of seeing how many of these guardsmen you can keep alive, you know? So, like, I think a lot of the representation and how they present people is really cool. I like the designs for things. The battle barge, for example, Paley, I fucking love the battle barge.
The battle barge was cool, the Thunderhawk, everything like that. The Adeptus Mechanicus, the servitors everywhere. The massive, the cherubs. Every single Warhammer game that you will ever play, massive skyscapes, massive cathedrals. That is like par for the course of Warhammer. Period.
Yeah, the ship you're on looks like a giant cathedral, which is very cool. During the story, you get to meet like a chaplain who is dripped out beyond reason. Honestly, the chaplain looks so fucking cool.
Yep, he hates your guts immediately because he thinks you're a heretic.
Yeah, you know, we're not even going to get into that because that is spoilers.
That is spoilers, but I'm just saying that he hates your guts immediately because he thinks you're a heretic.
I mean, he's worried because he thinks you've been exposed to chaos, and Chaplin's whole thing is to avoid that, kill whoever's exposed to chaos type deal. So it makes sense. I think lore-wise, I don't think there's anything like incredibly lore-breaking in this game, as far as I know. I think genuinely though, I do like the we were complaining about the chaos people in PvE. For the story, I have no issue with him. There's nothing. I don't have any kind of
Well,
big
like we
complaints
discussed
with
this
him.
with Javi before. There's reason like I like the story with the Chaos and Tyranids work, but like there's a reason why they switch from the Tyranids to the Chaos in the story, because Tyranids, as fun as they are to fight, narratively they don't really serve a purpose.
Yeah, narratively it's just fight a horde. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas with the Chaos people, it's like, oh, this is the actual problem now. This is an actual issue.
Because they have they have an agenda, they have a goal. While Tyranids, for the most part, are mindless. They just want to destroy everything.
They're there to eat.
Yeah.
Tyranids are there to eat. Honestly, but the story, as far as the story goes, I mean, that story is a solid 8.5 out of 10.
Oh no, that's great. I like
it's short and concise. I will say that. Don't expect like a 14, 15 hour
because
game.
me and Aaron are big Warhammer fans. We love the holy without our dialogue for the Fellowship of Brotherhood, the entire just brothers, and just simply all the badassness that comes along with it.
It is incredibly. You will, even if you're a woman, you might grow a little bit of a mustache. I'm just warning you right now. It's just one of those things that might happen. All right? She'll put hair on your chest.
Yep. It's the Helldiver effect, I would say technically. It's no Warhammer did it first. It's like that you sense of brothership and fighting for the Emperor. You just yell it to the top of your lungs while you're trying to kill everything in sight.
Like fighting. Honestly, it's the combat is one of those things where you're with your buddy just in a horde, just swinging sometimes, just swinging away.
I love the balance. Like it feels good to shoot and it feels good to hit. Like it's amazing.
It is one of those things where it feels nice to do the melee as well. Like it's very nice that there's that nice little mix between the two. If you want to be more of a shooter, you can absolutely do that. If you want to go melee in the story,
I'm out of bullets. I'll take my chainsword and go Benihana on everything.
As well as if you're playing the story, each person plays the player 1 plays Titus, player 2 plays Gadriel, and player 3 plays
Chiron.
Which are the two guys that assist you. Gadriel and Chiron, one of them is Chiron is a black guy. He's a black guy. And then fucking Gadriel is Asian. He's Asian dude, but he is, for some reason, usually Space Marines are kind of ugly. Gadriel is fucking hot, okay? I'm not even ashamed of saying that.
To be fair, there are some pretty Space Marines in lore. There are some.
I mean, there are pretty Space Marines. It's just that usually, Titus isn't ugly, never wrong, but he's covered in scars and damn, you can see he's gone through shit. Gadriel is oh shit, this guy's
long, flowing blonde hair. He is Asian. He just had yellow hair, that's all.
He has white, yellow hair, it's very white. Chiron is cool as shit, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I like
There's more backstory to it that we want to explain, but that's spoilers, so we won't get into it.
There's a lot of backstory between the two that you learn. And when you play the game together, there's situations where, there's one mission where Chiron sees these things that he has, very bad memories of because he was alive during the heresy, basically. And these Chaos people pop up and also say it's very personal for him. And there's a part where he dives in and is by himself. And when I played it the first time, I'm I wonder what happens when you're with a teammate or with people. Well, I did it, and your teammate is the one down there fighting for their life. You know what I mean? They're over there just going crazy as Chiron. And it's very cool. There's a part near the end where there's a person who's talking to you telepathically, basically. And each of the 3 characters hear different things, which I thought was very cool. That was a very cool attention to detail. There's a part where the person is talking.
I never heard the other 2. I only heard Titus's.
Yeah, I was when I played with Devon and Jace. I was hearing that part, and I'm oh, this is a completely different dialogue than I got when I was playing as Titus, and I thought that was really cool. Gave me Dead Space 3, how if you played as the second co-op player, you kind of experienced a completely different game, at different parts. It's very much like that. I thought that was a very nice little attention to detail on how they work, honestly.
One of the few good marks of Dead Space 3.
One of the only good things about Dead Space 3 was that co-op. I'm not gonna lie, realistically.
Yeah, no, it's a bitch and a half to get it to work nowadays, though.
It sucks now that it doesn't work. I wanted to play it with Logan and it just didn't work. But,
no. You can get it to work, but you have to do so much finagling, and it's not even worth it.
Yeah. So, as far as the story goes, though, I don't really think I have any complaints about any parts of the story, really. I think it moves on very well. I don't think it lingers or, it's a slog to get through at any point. Some people that are maybe more used to, longer games might complain a bit because it is a 6-hour game. I think 6. If you really put yourself in it,
about 6-hour campaign for it, but that's why the operations continue.
That's why operations extends it, and then
that's another 6 hours there in the PvP.
But I will say I prefer a short, concise, well-written, and finished story than something fucking some Assassin's Creed game that I have to play 43 hours of. And
Or, you know, like a 4-hour slog in
15.
Call of Duty. Or a 4-hour campaign slog in Call of Duty.
It doesn't feel like a slog. You genuinely feel like the story's moving itself along in a pretty logical manner. And there's a lot of really cool shit that happens with the story. There's a bunch of like genuinely badass moments that are just like.
Shooting like
there's
crazy.
a part where like bunch of the Ultramarines are having like a last stand basically, and that scene is
that is like
fucking
straight out of like the Iwo Jima. It was like, holy crap.
That shit was fucking French kiss, beautiful. Goddamn, let's go. I could feel my chest hairs growing, man. That shit was beautiful. But overall, like, I think that's all we have to say about the story. Now, I will say I do have some negatives about the game that I would like to bring up. Overall, like I said, balancing issues I haven't really felt any crazy unbalanced stuff in a lot of it. One of the more annoying things personally is for PvP, you can only queue with up to 3 people, like 2 people with you, so 3 max. Which is kind of weird,
though like each team is like what 6.
Each team is 6 people, right? So for PvP, I find it that they need to just let you have a private server so that you can bring all 6 people in.
They're adding that. They're adding
that for both PvE and PvP. PvE is also sometimes kind of weird.
PvE is not necessary because max is 3.
No, but like what I'm saying is like the private stuff, because like I'll be playing PvE and like I'll just be sitting in my lobby in PvE and random people will join me and I'm like, bro, get the fuck out of my lobby. I'm not even like loading into a game. If I was like loading a game like a level or something, sure, I get you joining me. But I'm just editing my armor or whatever. No mission queue or anything. And people just join my game and I'm like, bro, why are you in here? Get the fuck out of here. I don't want you in my game. For PvP, they need to have the ability to make like either a lobby or something, so that people like you can have all 6 of your buddies playing at the same time. They need to do that because it is kind of annoying that you can only queue you and 2 of your buddies. It's a little dumb. They will be adding new weapons though and stuff like that. So like I was gonna say that there is a lack of secondaries. Schemes, of course. Yeah, there is a lack of secondaries. I will say that.
Since the secondaries like the heavy bolt pistol, and the plasma gun.
And the plasma gun.
That's it.
That's really it right now. And I think the only person that can use the heavy bolt pistol is the assault. I'm pretty sure.
Which is so limited because that means only have for most of them you're stuck on either the regular bolt pistol
or the plasma pistol.
Which I like the plasma pistol, but the variety is just not there. So why not give a las gun? Because the only person that has a las gun is a fucking sniper.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a lack of diversity in some of the weapons, especially for what I feel like for PvP and the PvE for the classes. Melee weapons, there's only 4 melee weapons, but then again, they're cool. They have the chainsword, which the chainsword alone, you're probably gonna be playing that for a while because it's just really cool. The chainsword is such a cool fucking weapon, so it's not even that bad. I think it's not horrible, but they will be adding more weapons as time goes on, so I'm hoping we get more and more diversity. Armor customization is one that I also want to talk about. For the loyalists, that's the people that are quote-unquote the good guys, the customization is pretty great. You can do really a lot. I do like... It is kind of annoying how much of it just is Ultramarine aesthetic stuff, so it's kind of like us. But they will be adding, I think the next thing that's confirmed, they will be adding Dark Angel stuff. They are going to be adding the Mark III helmet with the beaky point.
Yep, the beakies,
very excited for that because there's going to be so much customization that you can add on to that. But the annoyances for customization in PvP of the heretics, because whenever you're in PvP, you're playing the loyalists
or the heretics,
and it's a little bit annoying because as the heretics, you're kind of stuck into one aesthetic. If you're the heavy, you're Iron Fist. If you're the assault, for example, you're gonna look like a knight. You know what I mean? Which isn't bad, but what if I want to play as Nurgle? I am just gonna be a Night Lord cosplaying as somebody from Nurgle's side because I'm gonna.
Not to mention that you won't have the full look for Nurgle either because all Chaos Marines for Nurgle are tendrils.
And the bulwark is the technically the one that's the.
I never understood that because they explained that each Chaos Marine faction is selected for a specific class. But why though? That doesn't make sense to me.
I don't think they did a bad job because it really makes sense with who's who realistically in it. But I do think they need to give me the ability to customize my people. Like, just give me a helmet. Like, you can't customize anything other than colors for the Chaos chapters. And it can be a little annoying when you can't do anything. They have slots to make armors, and it's like, why is there even slots for that? I can't edit anything. So I do hope that in the future, that's one of those things that they add more, that they give you some more customization on that side. Because you can't customize the weapons, you can't customize the armor. You can only change.
Well, you can technically customize the weapons to a slight degree, but that's mainly for like if you unlock them when you upgrade.
Well, you can customize the classes. Like you can say like, oh, I want to have a bolt rifle instead of the auto bolt or something like that. Like you can change that, but like at the same time, it's not like I don't know. It's not. In PvP, for example, you can buy skins for your guns and stuff like that. You can't do that for the heretics.
Yeah.
And like, I personally think they should, because I'm going to be playing the heretics a lot, and the fact that
Alright, sorry for some technical difficulties there, but we're having some issues with it. But yeah, we're going to continue on to say our final thoughts. So once again, a 8 to 8.5 out of 10 for Space Marine. We really enjoyed the time with it, and we're expecting to play more of it down the line as more releases come out for it, and hopefully a Space Marine 3 will be on the horizon. And
hopefully not 13 years from now.
13? That'd be crazy. Like, oh my god.
That being said, I'm one of those things that I'm very much looking forward to that could make this game go up or down. Is just how they add stuff. I'm really hoping that they are a little, like, I don't want to say like rush it, but you know, for PvP at least, have a constant update of stuff. Otherwise, people will leave and not come back. Same thing for like PvE. Like I really hope it doesn't take them too long to add some of these things people are asking for. But definitely an 8.5 out of 10. I hardcore recommend this game.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're a 40K fan.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. If you're not, but you like that third-person shooter horde kind of game, also for you. Don't let people on the internet say that this is going to be another Helldivers. It is not anything.
It is not a Helldivers game. It is not.
They do not play at all the same. These are not some games that are competing for the same group of people. They are two different things completely. You know. So
this is a much smaller scale in terms of gameplay, but it's still fun.
It's missions, whereas Helldivers is like this whole big map you got to do. These are like individual, actual, concise, missions. So keep that in mind. But very much a recommend. You know, this is a thumbs up for me and Pele. I think it's a thumbs up for pretty much everyone that's played the game. Only thing is, probably make sure that your computer is good enough to run it. It is a pretty heavy game. I will say that. I don't know if it's unoptimized or not, but I know that there's a lot of particle effects, and that will fuck up your processor probably if you don't have a good processor or graphics card. So just be aware of that. You know, it could take a little bit to load if your like stuff isn't really out of the game. But other than that, realistically, you know, go for it. I'd hardcore recommend it.
All right. Well, that'll be our. We'll pay for it, and we recommend the game greatly. But until then, thank you for listening to this review of Space Marine Warhammer, Space Marine 2. Until next time, guys.
Have a good one.
Peace.